Hi, it's Kevin Cope. Last week I spoke to you about HMOs and why we love HMOs so much and why they form such a core part of our investing strategy. So this week I want to talk to you about the types of property that you can turn into an HMO. So a lot of people ask me, well, can we just take a 3-4 bedroom house and invite lots of people in and set it up as an HMO? I'm sorry, but the answer is no. It's far more complicated than that. There's a number of factors that you need to take into account. Let's say the first one is where are your clients going to be? What is the sort of person that you want to attract into this property? Now, usually they could either be students, or they could be young graduates that are out working, or professional people that are just starting out. We're also noticing a trend at the moment for something that we've termed a heartbreak hotel, where couples unfortunately are splitting up more regularly than not these days. They can't afford to set up in a house or even a flat. They actually like the social side of living together with other people. So we're seeing people in their 40s that are moving into the properties. And of course there's other people like workers, contractors that work away, that might want somewhere to stay, don't want to stay in bed and breakfasts. So location is absolutely key when choosing a property to be your HMO. Absolutely key. You need to be close to your clients. People that are living in HMOs are not usually going to want to travel a long way to work. They're going to want to be very, very close to where they work, close to the town centres, close to railway stations. All things like that are something that's important to consider. The other major consideration is the planning aspect of HMOs, and we're talking here about the UK, of course. So within the UK there are certain constraints, often referred to as Article 4, where the local councils will require you to get planning permission if you're going to change a property from a regular residential use into an HMO. More often than not, they won't actually grant that planning permission. Sometimes they will, but more often than not. The reason the Article 4 there is to stop the spread of HMOs, particularly started within student areas, but it's more and more in other areas. Where we live, down by the seaside, it's actually to prevent turning boarding houses and bed and breakfasts into HMOs, because the council want to maintain them as hotels and boarding houses, boarding homes, because they want to attract people into the area. If you're in an HMO, obviously you're going to be living in the area. So before you do anything with the property, you need to check with the local council whether it falls into that sort of area or not. That's something you definitely need to check, because each part of the country is different as well. The other consideration is, do you need licensing? Now, planning and licensing are two very separate things. So licensing is something that's required by the local authorities, usually if the property is on 3 floors and has 5 people living in there. Now, that's not always the case. That's the national rules, but that's not always the case. Sometimes local authorities have different rules. So again, you need to check with the licensing people. And also, just because you've got planning doesn't mean to say you'll get licensing, and just because you've got licensing doesn't mean to say you'll get planning. You find the two departments within the local councils tend not to talk to each other. So they're the major considerations. Another consideration is check the demand. A great place to check the demand is on spare room. If people are not looking in your area to stay in HMOs, then what's the point in having one? You want an area that's got high demand, where lots of people are looking to actually stay in your property, which kind of goes for all property investment, but it's probably even more crucial with HMOs, because it's a smaller sort of market that you're dealing with. So once you've got those things sussed, then the thing is to go out and find the property. Now, we always have a rule that as a minimum there's 3 rooms to one toilet bathroom facility. So we'll never have more than 3 people that are sharing that kind of facility. So if it hasn't got that extra bathroom, that extra shower unit, is it easy to put in? Can you actually do that without breaking the bank? How much is the actual refurbishment going to cost? Because if you're going down the licensing route, for example, then there's lots of regulations around that, with fire doors, smoke alarms, all things that you really should be putting in your rental property anyway, but things to consider when setting up the property. I think really the advice here is to get some specialist knowledge. Of course, we would love to help you with that if that's of interest, because as you know from my previous videos, HMOs do make incredibly good cash flow, but they're very easy to do wrong. But if you get it right, then they're absolutely wonderful things. So enjoy the sunshine. Hope it's sunny and good where you are. If not, I'm sure it will be soon, and look forward to talking to you again very soon.